Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today, as the mainstream price predictions are beginning to get bullish for XRP. $37 to $50 by Sistine Research is being projected for XRP this cycle. And I don't know about all of you, but that type of price level brings chills down my spine. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly excited for where this baby's gonna go. Double digits this cycle is an inevitability. And with everything Ripple and XRP have been building, it seems like a foregone conclusion. All of you need to have your exit strategies for XRP ready. And I highly recommend the Merlin app as a powerful tool in order to input your exit strategies. Mathematically look at what your crypto portfolio is going to look like at your price targets and get it locked and loaded and ready to go. Sign up for your 30-day free trial and get your exit strategy projections. And you could get that free trial down in the description below, as Ripple has introduced the Ripple Prime. Ripple has become a one-stop shop crypto solution to all of your problems, as they're going to rebrand Hidden Road to Ripple Prime, which sounds a lot like Amazon Prime, if I do say so myself. And this is great marketing and branding for Ripple. Remember, Hidden Road is their connection to the DTCC, one of them, by the way. And the DTCC, in my opinion, will be Ripple's road to the $1.8 quadrillion derivatives market. This is oh so important. And Brad Garlinghouse, after rebranding Hidden Road into Ripple Prime, gave this 2 cents as to what you guys can all expect.
A prime broker is really a one-stop shop that allows all kinds of different asset managers, whether these are well-known hedge funds, trading desks, market makers. It gives them a one-stop shop venue to trade and clear everything from digital assets, derivatives, swaps, all kinds of different assets. And these guys are doing trillions of dollars of trades. Historically, those have been really owned by the traditional commercial banks, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs. Banks now don't do, well, new players like Hidden Road, a company Ripple bought recently, is new to this space, and they're growing very quickly by serving that same market, but also including digital assets as part of the mix. Having a well-capitalized, a super strong balance sheet player like Hidden Road is allowing more institutions to come into these asset classes against a well-capitalized counterparty, and that is prime brokers bringing people into crypto in 1 minute.
Now, with the prime broker and Ripple Prime being described to you from Brad Garlinghouse himself, we need to realize that the NASDAQ has officially posted the Canary H-Bar ETF ticker. The fund will begin trading October 28th, 2025. And this is direct spot exposure to H-Bar. Ladies and gentlemen, XRP ETFs are on standby, awaiting this government shutdown to subside, while H-Bar, my second largest holding, and a crypto I've recommended to all of you at 1.8 cents, is here with its ETF ready. Do you see the writing on the wall? Despite a government shutdown, we see an H-Bar ETF getting ready. And I promise you, my friends, when the XRP ETFs go live, the approval will send the price to astronomical values. You need to be prepared and in the game already, and these will be your last moments to get XRP before the $3 mark. Here, in the psychology of a market cycle, we are seeing the flippening occur between gold and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is suppressed in value while gold hit all-time highs, and gold has been retracing while Bitcoin has been rising over the past couple days. The money printer hasn't run this hot since COVID, as M2 money supply is now $137 trillion. It was just $129 trillion a couple months ago. Gold had rallied in response. Bitcoin was lagging just like it did in 2020. But now, the flippening is occurring. Money is going from gold into Bitcoin. And while M2 grew 21% by end of year 2020, with a little delay, Bitcoin went on a 6x rally in quarter 4 2020. That's exactly what's been happening now. And as we can see, the Federal Reserve will be continuing to print money. 1.5 trillion will be flowing in October and November after interest rate cuts occur, and they will be happening shortly. And yesterday, we saw that Bitcoin and gold are having the great rotation we all been anticipating. The price is going to be continuing in these directions, and you cannot ignore it. President Donald Trump pardoned Binance founder CZ. And all of these indications are bullish for the entirety of crypto, showing that a crypto bull run is coming and it's not going to stop. And here, my friends, what you all need to realize is that the crypto market structure bill is close to passing, as stated by Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. Every single one of you need to understand we are closer than we've ever been before to the best levels cryptos are going to see. The bull market isn't even starting. But once it does, it will melt faces. Policy is going to be one of the biggest catalysts for price action. And it is at our doorstep.
Yeah, well, we had great meetings with the Democrats in the Senate and on the Republican side today. And the good news is that there's strong bipartisan support and will to get this market structure legislation done. It's important for America, and the 50 million Americans who've used crypto want to see it get done. And so one date we heard floated was, let's try to get this markup done before Thanksgiving. I think that there's 90% of the issues are already aligned on and agreed, and there's draft text going back and forth, a lot of great cross-functional collaboration happening. That last 10% are the remaining issues, and everyone committed to get in the room together and work it out, and hopefully we'll see some draft text or get it out of committee by Thanksgiving.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, with all of you guys understanding that we have altcoin ETFs being approved during a government shutdown, you need to realize that the likelihood that XRP ETFs get approved regardless of the government shutdown. And you need to understand that the NASDAQ is quoted as saying we're seeing institutional interest expanding coin to tokens like XRP. Guys, you need to keep your eyes on the prize, as I believe we are in an institutional bull market while simultaneously being in a retail bear market. Nobody has money. Everybody's broke. But the wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots is only going to expand. Institutions, they have the money, and they're getting wealthy. They're stacking their billions and trillions into this asset class and products to support this asset class. And if you guys stack your pennies next to the billionaires' dollars, you will become the new 1%. Don't believe it is still true. And that's exactly what they're telling all of you.
I also think it's encouraging, Nick, that we're seeing it broaden out beyond Bitcoin, and we're starting to understand the fundamentals and other applications when you think about the institutional use cases for the digital asset space.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that the early kind of mover in this was Bitcoin particularly. But the way that I really like to see this is we're building a new financial wallet system. So if you picture tomorrow's wallet, we've got Bitcoin. So they're the digital gold. They sit inside and act as this finite supply, borderless transactions, and really self-custodied with a password, not a vault. Whether you're hedging inflation or sort of dodging local currency turmoil, very censorship resistant store of value. And then you've got Ethereum. So that's the app platform. So Ethereum's the wallet's app store, smart contracts so that you trade, borrow, or earn yield without a bank. And owning ETH is really just like holding gas in a global financial operating system, one that's open source and runs 24/7. Then you've got XRP. So they're the cross-border bridge. And XRP works really behind the scenes as that instant FX bridge. So banks convert dollars to XRP, beam it abroad in 3 seconds, and cash it out in local currency, potentially cutting remittance fees from 7% to under 1%. And then you've got Solana, the high-speed rail. So Solana provides the commuter rail, really hundreds of transactions per second with very tiny fees. So your subway tap, in-game purchase, or loyalty point redemption could all ride on the Solana rails without you even noticing. Then we've got stablecoins. Stablecoins such as USDC act as tokenized dollars, really clearing anytime, anywhere, and fully backed by short-term treasuries. And they really marry crypto speed with the safety of US debt, turning your phone into sort of this real-time dollar account that you can spend worldwide. So this is really a suite of products that have very specific functions that are reimagining the entire financial stack, and it's really opening back up.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what's so fascinating, what's so unbelievably interesting is the realization we all need to go through as XRP Army members in regards to the XRP price. With the Evernorth announcement and the 1 billion XRP treasury, the stagnant XRP price screams volumes to what's really going on. It might be harder than we think for institutions to buy and hold XRP, and that is being confirmed by Ripple Prime. Large companies aren't going to simply set up a Ledger or a Zamin wallet and drop $100 million in there. They want custody, audits, compliance, security, which would likely add $300K per year in costs just to hold crypto. That's why these other vehicles, which give exposure to XRP, are the best bet. Either via stock exchange, buying a company stock who invests in XRP or an ETF. This is an insane development with Evernorth. I'm super bullish now, even more than before an ETF. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to make myself abundantly clear. Ripple is a one-stop shop custody solution, institutional solution, bank charter, crypto company, liquidity service, everything in one. ETFs are on the way, and that will be a catalyst for more money to come in than we've ever seen before. And I'm going to let all of you know right now, lawmakers are making the SEC implement Trump's executive order to open up the $12.5 trillion retirement market to the crypto space. And I have to say one thing. One of the biggest things I recommend a lot of people to do is to transfer a good portion of their stagnant 401ks over to the crypto market. But a lot of people ask me, they're like, "Bull, I don't want the tax penalties that come with rolling over my 401k. And that's why I've partnered with iTrust Capital, which you can find down in the description below, because iTrust Capital allows you to roll over your traditional 401ks into crypto so that you don't have to pay tax penalties on it. And that, my friends, is going to be one of the biggest ROI moves that you make in your lifetimes. Whether it's 401k or IRAs, you could bring it over tax-free with iTrust Capital. And every single link that I have down in my description below is a tool that I think all of you need in your tool belts in order to best equip you to succeed in the crypto market. I don't show you nonsense, and I don't bring forth in front of you anything that you don't need. I avoided FTX. I avoided Terra Luna. I avoided Celsius and BlockFi because I knew the structure didn't make sense. But with Caleb and Brown, you guys get a lot of crypto access that you may not have access to here in America. With iTrust Capital, you get the 401k and IRA rollover tool. With the Decent wallet, you get my favorite wallet in all of crypto. And with Merlin, you get the best exit strategy tool in the crypto space. Sign up to all of them, but especially if you're not using your 401k money in crypto, you need to sign up to iTrust now, before XRP pops and before an ETF gets approved. And you're going to thank me later. We are in quarter 4. And Raoul Paul's letting all of you know that this bull market could extend all the way into Q2 2026. Keep your eyes on the fucking fries, my friends. We are almost there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Why is Bitcoin sort of not wildly off to the races yet? And it's this chart. Bitcoin is basically, this is a detrended Bitcoin. And it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Remember, we've always said it's the business cycle stupid. It is always the business cycle stupid. And all of these people who claim it's the 4-year cycle based around this and that, they don't understand the fundamental of what the business cycle is, why there's a 4-year cycle in everything. And we've explained it. And we'll go through it in great detail tomorrow in our Everything Code presentation. But basically, it's following the ISM. And rates have been following the same pattern. You see, rates should have come lower. They need to come lower because we need to roll the debt. We've talked about this. That's part of the Everything Code, fundamental part. And ISM, because rates are so high, has meant that Main Street has been screwed while Wall Street's made money from debasement. Earnings versus scarce assets. This is the issue that they need to solve, and they need to get rates lower. They get rates lower. Why? Why do we have an elongated business cycle that looks like virtually no other real other time? It's because, and I only just found this out redoing the work on the Everything Code recently, is that in 2021-22, they actually extended the maturity of the debt from 4 years to 5 years. So that extension of the maturity of debt has pushed out the business cycle a year. The 4-year cycle this time around is a 5-year cycle. We don't know what the next one will be until we see where they all end up getting refinanced, whether it comes back to 4 because they managed to get some stuff at the long end, or whether they shorten it because everything's in the short end. We don't know yet, but this one is a 5-year cycle. And this is what it looks like. A 5.4-year sine curve. 5.4 years is the exact average weighted maturity of the debt. And it tells us the ISM should peak by 2026. We think liquidity probably peaks before that, as the rate of change of ISM changes and the rate of change of liquidity changes. Our best guess remains well into 2026, probably Q2.